What if I told you that imposter syndrome isn't something that you need to heal from, but rather something that you have the power to out-strategize quickly, like starting today? No breakthroughs, no therapists, no 12-step programs that end with a hug and a sponsored journal. Instead, you just need one clear move that makes imposter syndrome lose its grip. If that sounds more useful to you than chanting from your inner business person, stick around because today I'm not giving you a pep talk. I'm giving you that one move, the one that makes that self doubt go quiet and gets your consulting business moving. So, do you, on the one hand, know you're really good at what you do, like led teams, saved project, and kept entire departments from imploding good, like that kind of good? But on the other hand, the second you think about stepping out on your own and charging for it as a consultant, this little voice kicks in and says, Wait a minute, do I actually know what I'm doing?" And just like that, 10, 20, 30 years of experience gets bulldozed by one insecure brain cell. You're sitting there, resume longer than a CVS receipt, thinking, do I even know what a consultant does? Like, technically, guess what? That's not you losing it. That is imposter syndrome. And it is ruthless, especially when you're smart, especially when you're new. And it's one of the biggest reasons that really accomplished people stall out before their consulting businesses even leave the runway. So today, we're fixing that for real with actual tools. No guided meditation. This is not a healing circle, and no one's burning sage. And guess what? You don't have to hug yourself in the mirror. I'm not your therapist, but I am the person who hands you a flashlight and says, let's go find that door and unlock it. I'm Jerry, and I help accomplished executives avoid the pitfalls that sabotage most consulting businesses. Why? So that they can launch with clear value and land clients who are happy to pay for their services. Okay, so let's start at the beginning really quickly. What is imposter syndrome? Let's define what we're actually dealing with here, because if you're calling it the wrong thing, you're probably trying to fix it with the wrong tools. So, first, let's talk about what it's not. It's not a diagnosis. It's not a character flaw. And it's not a sign that you need more affirmations or a new vision board. It's not that deep. And it's not that woo-woo. So, what is it? Here's what it is. It's a persistent, sort of low-key feeling that you're not as competent as other people think you are. And the fear that any minute someone's going to figure it out. That's it. It's a feeling, not a fact, not your fate. Here's the thing. This feeling, this charming little brain glitch, it shows up extra strong when you're doing something new or something high stakes or something self-led, like, starting your own consulting business or pricing your own work or saying to a prospective client, yeah, I can help you solve that. So, of course, you're freaking out. Look, you took off the corporate armor. You used to have a department, and now it's just you in sweatpants, probably with 5 tabs open to other people's LinkedIn bios. But again, that's not a sign that you're a fraud. That's just a sign that you're building something real and it's uncomfortable. So let's go into what you can do to combat and derail imposter syndrome. First, you've got to get clear on the transformation that you offer. You've got to get crystal clear with what you bring to the table. And this is where a lot of consultants, especially former executives, go sideways real fast. One thing that they do is to engage in corporate speak, which is when people describe what they do like they're buried in a quarterly report. So it's stuff like, I lead cross-functional teams to drive alignment. I deliver scalable strategies to support operational transformation. I build systems to foster innovation at scale, which all sound like resume excerpts from like 1992. And guess what? Nobody's buying that. not because they're wrong, but because that's meaningless. It tells me nothing about what actually changes because of you. And what people pay for is change. Another issue is vagary, just vague words, the vague parade. Here are some examples of that. I streamline workflows. I optimize strategy. I help people work smart. Help people work smarter. Okay. So do laptops and coffee and a sit-stand desk. So what does actually work? What should you do? You're going to start with clarity. So for example, this type of a statement: I help mid-size healthcare companies cut their billing errors in half in under 90 days and without hiring new staff. Okay, now we're talking, because that is a transformation. That is measurable, and that translates to money well spent. So if I understand what you fix, I start to see you as the fix. And if I don't, I keep scrolling or I tune out. So it sounds simple, right? But this is why it trips people up, because in corporate, your value wasn't tied to a single outcome. You were leading, guiding, putting out fires, holding the big picture. You were the glue. But as a consultant, you're not paid to be glue. You're paid to solve a problem. And when I say paid, I don't mean applauded for your potential. I mean invoice sent, money wired. Okay, now that you've figured that out, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is when you put it in action and where your brain stops yelling
Rod.
every 10 seconds in your ear. So once you're clear on the transformation that you offer, your next move is very simple. You start talking to the people who actually need it. Okay, now notice I didn't say pitch them or sell to them. I said talk to them. And that is where the shift happens, because now you're not nervously hoping that they see your value. You're explaining a transformation you know how to deliver, whether you're posting on social media or explaining what you do in person. It's clarity that kills imposter syndrome, because you won't be faking anything. You're just describing what you actually do for people who actually need it. And sure, you might be speaking to someone who is outside your target audience. That's fine. You still won't feel like a fraud, because now you can explain what you do in a way that's real, specific, and unfakeable. You'll have narrowed it down. You've owned your lane, and you replaced maybe with here's how. Imposter syndrome fades when your message stops hiding behind your potential and starts standing on actual proof. You're not guessing anymore. You're not hoping. You're not just pretending or faking it until you make it. You're just clear. Okay, so here's the part where I'm supposed to say, hey, if this resonated with you, like, comment, or subscribe. But honestly, if you're still watching, I already know something about you. You're not done. You're just stuck. And now you know why. Imposter syndrome isn't some deep personal flaw. It just shows up when you're unclear, untested, and overthinking. So stop trying to feel ready and start getting specific. Own that transformation. Talk to real people and let clarity speak louder than your doubt, because you're not a fraud. You're just new. Guess what? New is fixable. If you want more honest, no fluff help building your consulting business, subscribe, because this is what I do. And if you're ready to go deeper faster, just DM me. And let's get this thing off the ground before that voice tries to kill it again. But for now, no woo, just do. I'll see you soon.